Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockney era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Tim O'Malley with Tim Priester atop Notre Dame Stadium before Notre Dame takes on Purdue. And usually I think entering Game 3 we're a little more set in what we believe about Notre Dame's team. I think we got 60 more minutes to try to find out about this season.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Purdue's ready to come in here and play good football. But I think Notre Dame is too. We talked about that during the week. This is a motivated team. Brian Kelly said winning is just not enough, and I believe that to be true. When you're 45-8 in the last 4+ years, that is certainly the case. You know, Notre Dame's won of those 40. The first 43 victories of the last 4 years, 31 were by double digits. So this is uncommon. But Purdue's going to come in here and play well. I think Notre Dame will too.
And I think we agree also that both defensive lines have an advantage today. Mitigating that advantage might go a long way into Notre Dame getting away from Purdue, or Purdue turning this into a fourth quarter game. And I do wonder if it's a fourth quarter game that does favor the visitors, where you normally don't think of that in a rivalry game and a home game.
The law of averages maybe come into play, and certainly they're going to, having been out in the parking lot for a couple hours, there are going to be a whole bunch of Purdue fans here today. And we know who the weapons are. You just have to find a way to, you can't let David Bell beat you significantly. You can't let George Karlaftis be pressuring your quarterback 6-7 times a day. With the state of Notre Dame's offensive line, that's very possible. But I like Notre Dame's matchup with their D-line against Purdue's offensive line.
I think, and you mentioned Notre Dame's offensive line, I'm interested to see how they kind of tweak the running game when Jack Cohn is in there. It can't be, we're going to run when Tyler Buckner's in there. It doesn't work that way. But I would think you'd see something different formationally. As we mentioned on the podcast, Pete Sampson mentioned on our podcast, 23 read option opportunities, 23 handoffs. They have to break tendency or change that approach.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's a first and 10 run of 4 yards. That's good enough. You're at least keeping yourself in order with the chains. But, and additionally, you probably have to run some jet sweeps. Yeah. You have to continue. Jack Cohn throws a good screen pass. You have to continue to throw the ball to the running backs and try to widen the field the way that Tyler Buckner was when Jack Cohn's at quarterback.
And I think it's worth noting, you kind of did a study. It's 133 plays. The opponent's averaging 3.4. The 4 where they have 280-plus yards. You don't expect another 60-yard game, but I think it's going to come down to tackling again, because David Bell is kind of a 20-yard gain, just walks up the bus. He's a 20-yard gain out there.
He's probably going to break another one today. But, and that's why we feel like the defense is certainly the closest. It's not like Brian Kelly talked about being more simple. I don't think you have to be more simple on defense. You just have to tackle a little bit better and see if you can eliminate some of those huge plays.
That is it. Pregame will be back with more postgame and instant analysis after Notre Dame takes on Purdue.